Hello, welcome to Chessa. In this video, we are going to analyze a rapid game played between two players rated around 1000. The game starts with d4, d5 by black, and now bishop to f4. London system. London system is a setup based opening, meaning you put your pieces on certain squares regardless of what your opponent plays. Generally, you are able to achieve the desired setup roughly 7 to 8 times out of 10. Sometimes you do have to deviate from the setup. The setup of London system is d4, bishop f4, knight f3, e3, bishop d3, c3, knight bd2, and castle. Two important points. This is not London system. Why? Because now you can't play bishop f4. And please note, bishop on f4 is a key feature of London system. And second point is you play c3 generally in response to c5. So that if black takes on d4 with c pawn, you also take back with c pawn. Not e pawn, but c pawn. Okay, now let's get back to our game. Black played c6, knight f3, bishop f5, e3, e6. So far, white has followed the London system, right? d4, bishop f4, knight f3, e3, and both the players have brought their bishops out before playing these moves. So that's good. Now, white deviates from the London system and plays c4. White could have proceeded with the London system by playing c3, knight bd2, bishop d3, castle. Okay. But in the game, we have c4. By the way, before that, let me tell you, you can't play c3 and bd2 and then bishop d3, because if you do so, you will lose the bishop for free. Okay, pawn will be on c3, knight will be on d2, blocking the queen's path, right? So in such case, you have to change the move order a little bit. You will play bishop d3. Wait, oh yeah, sorry. Actually, in the recommended move order, you do play bishop d3 immediately, right? So yeah, but you can't play bishop d3, c3, knight bd2, because then the bishop will be hanging, right? So in such case, you will play bishop d3, exchange the bishop, and then you will play c3, knight bd2. Okay, so this is how you somehow manage it when black tries to challenge your setup. Okay, in the game we have c4, bishop to g4. Now, generally, you do not move a piece twice in the opening unnecessarily. Okay, if there is some necessity, yes, you have to move it twice. That's fine. But otherwise, you don't, because that takes up a move, right? And each and every move is very important. The bishop on f5 made complete sense. After c4, this is an open diagonal, and the bishop was controlling that open diagonal, right? So bishop g4, pinning the knight to the queen, need not be played. Okay. Instead, black could have played knight f6 or bishop b4, knight d7, castle, right? Develop your other pieces rather than moving already developed piece. But fine, bishop g4, pinning the knight to the queen, right? And this is not at all dangerous for white. Okay, white is totally fine. Just one important point is that white can't play move like queen d2. White can't move his queen immediately because After bishop takes f3, you have to take with g pawn, and that will damage your pawn structure, right? This pawn structure is better than this pawn structure. Okay, so please keep that in mind. C takes d5, c takes d5, and white plays knight to d2. So now the knight is supporting. So if bishop takes f3, so white can move his queen freely. And after moving the queen, if black plays queen bishop takes f3, then white need not play g takes f3. White will recapture with the knight, keeping the pawn structure intact. a6. This is unnecessary move. Why? Because it actually achieves nothing. Okay. Yes, it takes away the b5 square, not allowing white to give this check. But that's anyways, um white is not going to play that anyways. Okay. And even if white plays that, that's not dangerous for black. Okay. So you need not worry about bishop b5. Even if there is bishop b5, you can simply play knight c6 or knight d7. Okay, so instead of a6, it would have been better to develop these pieces and castle quickly. Finish your development as soon as possible. But in the game, we have a6 and now queen to b3, attacking the b7 pawn, and black responds with queen d7. This is a wrong square actually. Black should have played queen c8. But why? What's the difference between playing queen c8 and queen d7? Anyways, we are defending the pawn, right? Does it matter? Yes. In this position, it does. Pause and try to find out the best move for white. Ready? Knight to e5, forking the queen and the bishop. And there is no way you can save both. Black moves the queen and loses the bishop. Now white is a piece up, and white's strategy will be simple. Trade pieces, go to endgame, and win with your extra piece. Black plays knight c6, and white follows the plan, knight to e5, offering trade of pieces. Knight takes e5. By the way, generally the side that has material disadvantage, means that has less pieces, will try to avoid trade of pieces. Okay, so by that logic, black should not have captured here. Black should have played knight f6 instead. But in this particular position, it doesn't matter much, because if black doesn't take, white will take anyways. And um, this knight doesn't really have any other good square. Okay, so yeah, knight takes e5, completely fine. Knight b4 is possible, queen is supporting, right? So it can't be captured. But what will you play after a3, right? You can't move further, and in fact you will have to go back, right? So there is no other good move. You can play knight e5, that's fine, but black could have played knight f6 as well. Okay, enough. Knight takes e5, and now bishop takes, sorry, d takes e5 or bishop takes e5. Tell me. Yes, bishop takes e5, because if you take back with pawn, that gives you double pawns. Connected, but still this is not desirable. Okay, keep your pawn structure intact. So bishop takes e5. That's what happened in the game. And now knight to f6, bishop to d3. By the way, you can trade. Okay, but you need not. Okay, generally you should not trade your bishop for your opponent's knight, especially early in the opening. Okay, just wait and look for the right opportunity. Bishop d3, b5, castle. So now white has finished his development. And also, please note, this b5 move is unnecessary. Again, it achieves nothing. Okay. It would have been better to play queen d7, bishop e7, castle. Black is still yet to develop his bishop, whereas white has developed all his pieces. Right? So it's important to finish your development as soon as possible. But in the game, we have this unnecessary b5 move. Castle, now white has finished his development, right? Has castled also. So white has achieved, or white has finished three tasks, three key tasks in the opening, right? Center control, piece development, and king safety. Whereas black is still yet to develop his bishop and castle. Queen to d8 to make way for the bishop. It would have been better to play queen d7. Okay, it's more natural, and it's better to place your queen on d7 rather than on its original square. Okay, but fine, not much difference. And now rook to c1. Good move. Why? Always remember, rook belongs to open file. This is an open file, meaning there are no pawns on this file, right? So you place your rook on open file. And if possible, double the rooks. That's even more effective. Bishop to e7, planning to castle on the king side. And now white plays a cunning move, queen to c2. And black, if castles, okay, fine. Black castled and walked right into white's trap. Pause and tell me what was the trap and what is the best continuation for white. Ready? Yes, bishop takes f6, bishop takes f6, and bishop takes h7. Well, what happened actually? See, this h7 pawn is guarded by king and knight and attacked by bishop and queen. So, two defenders, two attackers, equal. If we are able to remove one of the guards, we will be able to win this pawn for free, right? Obviously, we can't remove the king immediately, right? So, we take the knight. Okay, so bishop takes knight, bishop takes bishop, and now this pawn has only one guard, whereas we have two attackers. So we win the pawn for free. This tactic of removing the guard to win the piece or pawn is called as, yes, that's right, removing the guard or removal of the guard. Bishop takes h7 check, king moves, and now, very important, you retreat with bishop. Okay, you bring your bishop back. Otherwise, black will play g6 and trap your bishop. So bring your bishop back. Queen to a5 is a strategically wrong move. Why? Because your king is now open. Okay, you have just lost a pawn in front of your king, and the king is now unsafe. There are only bishop and rook for the safety of this king, whereas white's bishop and queen are already lined up here, right? So it's better to keep your queen in the center, somewhere here, right? D7 or here, so that it can quickly come to king's rescue. Okay, but in the game we have queen a5, targeting the a2 pawn, which white doesn't really care about and plays knight to f3. That pawn just doesn't matter to white because white is now going to attack on this king. Black plays g6, and well, the position is already a lot more advantageous for white. Okay, so whatever black plays, white can play just barely good moves and still be able to win the game. Okay, but this particular g6 move allows white to play a stunning move. Pause and try to find out that move. Ready? Yes. Bishop takes g6. F takes g6. Queen takes g6. Now see, earlier in this position, white is up a piece and a pawn. After this trade, after this sacrifice, white is up 3 pawns. Okay, so uh, see, generally piece up is more important than having extra pawns. Okay, but here you are getting a nice attack on this king, a dangerous attack. You have already got your queen here. Knight will join. Rook can also join. Okay, so this is going to be a devastating attack. So this is a good sacrifice. Okay, so this is what you have to see whenever you are going to sacrifice a piece. See if you can follow it up with some good attacking moves. Are you able to bring more pieces? Yes. Are you able to outnumber the number of defenders with number of attackers? Yes. Then only go for it. Here we will have queen, knight, rook also, whereas currently he has only rook and bishop. Even if this queen comes, it will be still too late. And the most important point that is important here is that, wow, the most important point that is important here. Okay, the most important point is that there is no shelter for this king, right? There are no pawns, and hence only these pieces are enough. And we'll see how. Black finally brings back his queen. Queen h6 check, king g8, queen g6 check, king h8. So white repeated the position. White repeated the position. Maybe white did not know at that time what to play exactly, but soon figured out with queen h5 check, king to g8, king g7, same story, doesn't matter much, king g8. And now, very important, not queen g6 check, but queen g4 check. Okay, this is not just a check, it's attack on e6 pawn as well. So logically, you would play king to f7, getting out of check as well as defending the e6 pawn. And now it looks like black is now escaping, right? So how do you continue with the attack? Pause and tell me. Ready? Pile up more pressure on this pawn and bring more pieces into the attack. So you will play, that's right, rook to c6, pressurizing the pawn and also bringing another attacker into the attack on this king, right? Now white has queen, knight and rook into the attack. Black responded with rook to g8, counter attacking the queen. If black had played queen d7, defending the pawn and also attacking the rook, white would have played rook c1, defending the rook and also a firm control over the c file. And by the way, currently white is threatening to play rook c7, winning the queen. Okay. Also, there are other moves like queen h5 check, knight e5. So white has a great attack even after queen d7. But in the game, we have rook to g8, attacking the queen. And now, yes, queen h5 check is a good move. Of course, you can take on e6. Okay. White chose different path. White first gave knight e5 check. Okay. And black took. Okay. Bishop takes e5. And now you can't recapture because your queen is hanging. So you have to move your queen first. But don't move it to any random square because then this bishop will escape, right? So queen takes e6 check, right? Don't forget what you played just a while ago or what you were thinking just a while ago, right? Just a while ago, you thought of pressurizing this pawn. So keep that in mind that you're pressurizing this pawn, okay? That's when you find moves like queen takes e6 instead of queen h3 or queen h5 check, okay? Queen takes e6 check, king has to move, right? And now, yes, you can recapture immediately, but white played it more smartly. White played queen f5 check, okay? Now, obviously, if bishop f6, then you just take, okay? You can't take, queen is supporting, and this is crushing. If you play king g7, then it's mate in two. Pause and try to find out. Ready? It's fairly simple. Rook g6 check, king moves. Doesn't matter where the king goes. King h7, king g8. Sorry, king h7, king h8. Doesn't matter. Queen h5, and that's checkmate. So, not bishop f6, not king g7. You will have to go to e file, king e8 or king e7. Black played king e8, and now queen takes e5, and this is with check. Okay, that's the difference. Playing queen takes e5 immediately, which is not with check, and playing queen takes e5 here with check. Hence this maneuver. King moves, and now rook to f6. Now if king goes to g7, again similar, queen g5 check, king moves, rook h6, that's checkmate. So just to prolong checkmate, black has to now take the rook, which is what happened in the game. Queen takes, and now white is up a queen, right? White has queen for his rook and many pawns. This is completely winning, okay? But it turns out that white can finish the game off very soon. White can checkmate black king. Uh, White couldn't find the idea immediately, so White repeated the position like this and then played g3. Okay, not the best move, but it maintains the advantage. Rook to d8. Black can't do much actually. And now finally White finds the idea. Can you find that idea? Pause and try to find out. Or find out the idea here. It doesn't matter. The idea is the same. Ready? Yes. When you are attacking, bring as many pieces as into the attack. And obviously you have to bring your rook here. to checkmate. This queen alone can't checkmate the king in this position, right? So rook to c1 is the move, and then rook to c7, and checkmate will happen. Um, Black can play rook a7 to prevent rook c7, but in that case you can play rook c8, right? So either way checkmate will happen. It's just a matter of moves. So finally white found the idea, rook c1 and then rook c7, and black resigned. A flawless attack by white. Let's quickly summarize. White went for London system and then deviated with c4. Found this nice fork which won a piece, right? Traded a pair of knights, and now this cunning trap of queen c2, right? And winning the pawn, and then sacrifice. Beautiful, beautiful. Even if white doesn't sacrifice, it's still a great position for white. White can play any other move like a3, knight e5, e4. All are good moves, but bishop g6 stands out. And then what did white do? White nicely maneuvered, right? Attacked the e6 pawn, brought the rook, right? Attacking the e6 pawn with check, bringing more pieces into the attack. Knight check, and then first queen check, again queen check, and then taking the piece with check. And then it was just a matter of moves. And finally, this idea of rook c1, rook c7. Good job. I hope you enjoyed and learned something from the game. If you have any doubt or suggestion, do let me know in the comments below. That's it for this video. Signing off.